If you are a hobby player, chances are that at some point you played one of those games in which you have a group of players controlling a team of heroes, exploring a mysterious place of which they don't have complete knowledge, and then you have a screen, and on the other side of the screen there is a single player being a mix of dungeon master, evil player, but basically controlling the hostile environment, knowing all that is in the environment, and controlling the monsters that will attack the heroes. Now we have a game that that presents a similar idea but with a very interesting twist. The game is Alone. It is set in a sci-fi setting. This time we have a single hero controlled by a single player, and the hero is entering a mysterious starship full of dark hallways and also full of ugly monsters that will come out of nowhere and attack the hero and threaten the hero's body and sanity. So we have a single player controlling a single hero and exploring this mysterious environment which is unknown to the hero. And on the other side of the screen we have 2 to 3 evil players. This time it is the evil players that are ganging together and trying to be more evil, I guess, than the sum of their individual selves. So very interesting twist here. Now, why don't I show you how Alone works? The evil player or players will have a map here on which they will keep track of what happens in the spaceship that the hero is exploring, and that map will be hidden behind the screen that also acts as a nice player aid. This map is formed by using these 2 tiles that are double-sided. They can be rotated, so you can form up to 16 different configurations of places. They represent 2 different floors and they are connected by staircases. And you keep track of that, or you should say you record that by using those tokens. Basically, if the hero is in that space, the hero can move from there, or could climb the stairs or descend the stairs and go to that place. There are 2 separate places, 2 separate floors, and which one is upstairs and which one is downstairs is really kind of irrelevant. The important thing is that you know that from here you can move here and there and then go to that place and there. From here you can get to that place. The map is divided in sectors. The sectors may represent hallways, as you can see, or rooms. And these that you see here are doors. The rooms are different after the evil player or players prepare the general layout by placing those 2 tiles. You also add the rooms by using these tiles here that you can place kind of randomly, so that all rooms have a tile. The hero will try to complete 3 missions, or up to 3 missions. Basically, each mission is represented by a card, and there are 2 starting missions. The hero needs to complete 1 mission of this type and a mission of this type to then unlock the final mission, which is a mission of this type. And if the hero completes the final mission before dying, pretty much, then the hero wins the game. If the evil player or players kill the hero, then they win the game. So maybe in this game we're gonna use this mission here as represented by this card, and this mission here as the starting missions, and then we're gonna use this on a mission here as the final mission. So the hero will need to go to the corresponding rooms. That is, to complete this mission here that we mark with this symbol, the hero will need to go to this room here corresponding to that. To complete this mission here, marked by this symbol, the hero will need to go to this room here, the room with that symbol, and to complete the final mission here, the hero will need to go to that room. So we mark that mission with that room, as you can see there. The map is also used to keep track of where the hero is physically. Suppose that the hero right now is there. There may be danger tokens, very useful for the evil player to trigger mighty effects. And then we keep track of those by placing them here. We also record on this map the position of the monsters. Those tokens there correspond to where the monsters are, and each token gives us the identity of one of these monsters here. And you will place the miniatures representing the monster on the board, but again, you need the general map to know where everything is. And so we have these monsters here, and we keep track again of their actual physical position by using these tokens on this side of the map. So when the hero moves, you will move this token here again to record, keep track of where things are. These monsters are double-sided. This side represents the monster at full strength. When the monster takes a hit, takes a wound, it is reduced to this as a side. When it takes a second wound, you remove it from here, and of course you remove the corresponding miniature from the actual board. The number of blood drops that you see here represent the number of hits that you need to inflict a wound. So if this monster at full health takes a hit, it is flipped to the side, takes another hit, it is removed. There are thresholds, so that means that it takes 2 hits to inflict a wound to this monster and flip it to the other side. A single hit wouldn't do anything. That also means that each monster needs to be hit twice, needs to be inflicted 2 wounds. That also means it takes usually 2 actions to eliminate a healthy monster, that is to get the monster from full health to wounded and from wounded to removed. You can have up to 4 monsters on each level of the starship. That also means you can have up to 8 monsters in play on the 2 levels total at all times. You also use tokens to indicate which sectors are in the dark. I just say which sectors are in the light. Which sectors are baited with light that will help the hero. Otherwise, if there is no other indication a sector is in darkness, all sectors are dark at the beginning of the game. But there are some light switches. The hero can use actions to turn on the light and project light in other sectors. As you can see, yeah, it can get a little crowded when you have monsters, danger tokens, the hero, light tokens, etc, etc, etc. Another thing, doors are usually open, or at least they become open as soon as the hero moves adjacent to them, but the hero may spend actions to jam them, in which case you also use tokens to keep track of that. So yes, things can get a little crowded on this side of the screen. The other side, the tiles that you use to create the map and to represent these sectors are much larger, so you're not going to have problems with things looking crowded. On the other side, when you use tiles, again, to represent the hallways, and then you have tiles to represent different rooms. So you will use this tile, for example, to indicate that room, or this tile here to indicate this room, and so on and so forth. The monsters, so the evil players, the hero will move and do stuff and they take turns, and the evil player or players don't really have turns. They will use these decks of cards here to do bad stuff, to do their evil stuff. There are 4 such decks. In each game, the evil player will only use 2, so there is replay value there because it will be variety. Maybe in this game, the evil players will use these 2 decks. These 2 decks allow the monsters to do different things, usually based on what the hero does. If the hero performs this action and this action, then as a reaction, the evil player could play this card or this card here. If the hero moves, then the evil player could do this. Basically, each turn, the hero will take 1 or 2 actions, and the actions that are taken allow the evil player to respond by playing cards. The evil player or players do not have turns per se. Also, there are other reaction symbols. So, for example, this card can be played when the hero takes a sanity damage. Other cards can be played when the hero takes a physical damage, takes a wound, and so on and so forth. But the general idea is the evil players do not have turns. The hero takes a turn. In response to that, the evil player can play cards. Again, cards that are unlocked by matching the action that the hero just took, in which case you can perform the action described here. If the card is resolved in a room that has a danger token, then you also look at this text here, which represents a more powerful version of the action. So that's neat. But again, usually you just want to wait for the hero to move, then you can play this card or this card. The hero performs this action, then you can play this card. What happens if the hero does not perform actions that match the cards that you have in your hand, because you only have a certain hand of cards, you don't have the whole deck? Well, you can still play cards generically. That is, as the evil player, when it is your time to play a card, so after the hero acted, you can play a card face down, that is ignoring everything that it says, and then you can use the card to spawn a monster or to move a monster that is already on the board. So at least you can always play your cards generically, ignoring the text, to move or spawn new monsters. When you move a monster by using a generic action, you simply move it to an adjacent sector. When you spawn a monster, you have to spawn it. You cannot spawn them alas right on the head of the hero. There is a minimum distance. Then you look at this table here, the green table, and this tells you the minimum distance. So if I'm spawning that monster, it has to be at least 3 spaces from the hero. I'm spawning that monster at least 4. So this is how you spawn or move monsters generically using cards face down. If you are playing a card because the conditions allow it, and you're playing it face up, in which case you resolve the effect. The monsters, the evil players, can play 1 or 2 cards per turn, and how that works exactly we'll see it in a minute when we look at the hero's board. Now we are looking at things from the perspective of the hero, on the other side of that evil screen. We have a miniature that represents the hero. It is one of 4 possible heroes. He goes on the board. That doesn't look like much at the beginning of the game. And in general, you will add tiles based on what the hero explores and pretty much what the hero knows. Here we have the hero's board, used to keep track of a lot of interesting information. Next to the board, you will place the item cards. The hero will acquire new items during the game. These items are very important and will give you a lot of interesting bonuses. On this side of the hero's board, we have the experience area. When the hero kills one of these monsters, receives a token in the category. Say you killed that one, and then later you killed this other one. If you kill the same monster again, you flip this token to the other side, and now that unlocks an extra ability, an extra advantage that you have, which can be pretty cool. Here we have health track and we have sanity track. As you lose health or sanity, they go down. They may also go up again if you heal. If one of them goes down to 0 and you would need to lose more of that type of resource, say I'm 0 sanity and I take another sanity damage, you lose the other type instead. If they both go down to 0, then the hero is dead for good and the evil player or players win the game. Here we have a round marker. You have 4 standard rounds. At the end of each round, you move that token down by 1. If you get to the end, it doesn't mean that the game is over. It means that the standard rounds are over and now you enter nightmare mode, which makes it much harder for the hero to win the game. So the pressure is on. Also, as the round goes down, the hero will receive more adrenaline tokens. So those adrenaline tokens, that means adrenaline goes up, and that is good. At the same time, however, there is now a healing cap. That means that if the hero is down here in health and or sanity, the hero cannot recover health and or sanity above that cap. Here we have action tokens. Each round, the hero will take several turns. In each turn, the hero will take an action, indicate that by flipping one of those markers, or 2. The hero can spend an adrenaline token to take a second action in a turn. The hero can also spend adrenaline tokens to heal sanity and or to heal from physical wounds. So the flow of the game is that each turn the hero will take 1 or 2 actions. After that, the evil player will play usually 1 or 2 cards, and also once that is done, at the end, if the hero is in the same space with monsters, there will be a fight. Remember, I told you that the evil players play cards at the end of the hero's turn. The evil player can play a card, in which case the card is placed in this slot here, and maybe next turn the evil player plays another card and goes there. The evil player can also choose to play 2 cards in a row in a single turn, in which case, however, the second card is put like this, horizontally, and covers 2 of these slots. This is important because at the end of the round, the evil player will receive a number of danger tokens to be used in the following round, equal to the number of icons that are visible. And these tokens are very useful. They make the environment much more dangerous for our poor hero. So, the hero will take 1 or 2 actions each turn, and a very common action, remember the pressure is on, you need to go to rooms and find stuff and do stuff. A very common action, of course, is to move. The hero declares a move action, and then they will play, and where he or she is going, the evil player tells them what they find there and places down the corresponding tile. And maybe looking at the map, we find out that this is where the hero is going now. The evil player also tells them if there is danger there, if there are monsters. Oh, oopsie daisy. If the hero enters a space where there is a monster that the hero did not expect, so tile and monster placed there as the user is entering an area, the hero is very scared and the hero loses sanity. The same thing if the hero is minding his own business and, hello, do you have a minute to talk about the Dark Lord Cthulhu? That also, if a monster comes out of nowhere and sneaks upon the hero loses sanity. If the hero had scanned an area and knew about the monster, still not pleasant, but at least you don't lose sanity by default. And again, the hero can take an action each turn, and here is the list. Also, there may be rooms that are in play. The rooms connect the hallways to... there may be doors in play. The doors connect rooms to hallways, and so maybe we place a room here, like so. Here we go. So, as for the actions that the hero can take, we saw that there is the move action, which is 1. The hero can also try to locate relevant features. The hero can say, where is the room such and such? Where is the closest such and such feature of the dungeon? Or where is the dormitory? Where is the room where I need to do this and that? And the evil player doesn't tell them the direction, but tells them how far it is. Say you're 5 tiles away, and the evil player looks at their map to count that distance. And then later, maybe the hero does another action, which is again like that, says, hey, I want to know the distance now, and the hero told you are 2 sectors away. So now at least the hero gets a general sense of where to go, because the hero gets a general sense that they're getting closer. The explore action allows the hero to reveal up to 2 sectors in line of sight, unless there is a door or other things that will prevent that. The hero wants to explore in that direction. Scanning really would be a better term, I guess, because you're learning about sectors without actually entering them. Anyways, you explore or scan, so you get to know about more sectors. Fighting is when you trigger a fight. We'll talk about how you fight later. Scavenging is when you draw cards from the stack. You get 1 in an hallway and 3 in a room. Interact is a generic action that allows you, for example, to turn on the lights if you find a switch, which can be very beneficial. And suppose that has happened, and now there is light in these areas here. But then, and this is pretty much the general actions. Move, explore, locate, that is learn the distance, so things that are interesting to you, draw cards with the scavenge action, interact, and fight. To fight, you use these dice here. They have 3 symbols. The crosshair, which is always a hit, no matter who rolls it. This sort of X here, which is always a miss, no matter who rolls it and when. And then this weird symbol here. When the hero is attacking, this counts as a hit if there is light in the room. Also, if there is light in the room, the monsters roll fewer dice. This symbol also is a hit if the monsters are attacking and there is a danger token in the room. So they usually misses unless one or two sides is gaining an advantage. When the hero uses the fight action, by default the hero rolls 2 dice, and then we see which ones are hits. And remember, you need to match or exceed the threshold of the monster. The monsters will attack using actions on their cards, or by default at the end of the round if monsters are in the same room as the hero. The monsters roll a number of dice, which is indicated here on their column. You cross-reference the type with the column. As you can see, it's different numbers whether the room is in the dark or there is light in the room. So very powerful thing here. They roll the dice, and again, also based on danger, they will inflict a number of hits that are subtracted from the health of the hero. This is in general how you play the game. The hero plays 1 or 2 actions. The monsters respond with cards. There may be default fights at the end of the game, at the end of the turn. Continue like this round after round. If the game enters nightmare mode after 4 rounds, then you use this other table here to regulate the strength of the monsters, so the effect that they have and where they spawn, so things get much worse. At the end of the game, the player completes the final mission. The player controlling the hero wins the game. The evil player or players kill the hero, they win the game. From the point of view of genre, I would say that Alone is or is reminiscent of a merry, trashy game, by which I'm not trying to trash American games. It is, I would say, the technical term in the hobby for games that are full of cardboard and plastic, that have a lot of rules that are meant to be thematic, that do not fear to add an extra rule to be able to represent a different laser gun, an extra monster, an extra element of the world. They are richly furnished worlds, but again, that comes with a degree of complexity and in some cases maybe fiddliness. Also a merry trashy games to all of this, and usually with a strong combat adventure component. Alone definitely fits the bill. It is not super complicated, but there are a lot of unique effects, unique rules. We played with players that not necessarily are habitual gamers, and they struggled a little bit. And I think in general maybe the game could do with 1 or 2 fewer rules. There aren't rules I can explain in the game, but maybe the rules about charging the weapons and exchanging charge tokens. If you read the rulebook, you'll know that maybe the rule and a couple of other ones could be simplified or omitted, and you will still have the same experience. This being said, that is a minor thing because the game is intensely thematic. The little bit of fiddliness that you have in the rules then definitely pays off, because you do have a game that feels, again, intensely thematic, intensely cinematic, and it is a true horror story. It really works well. To me, the game is tense and fun, which is interesting because maybe it is the sci-fi setting, maybe it is the emphasis on the darkness element, maybe again it's the fact that you are sitting there alone and the other people are staring at you, and there's a screen and the cards and you don't know what's coming at you. But I do believe that in a sense the game manages to bring back some of the sense of mystery and dread that probably should be associated with the dungeon crawler genre. But we are so used to it, to us going into a dungeon and slaying monsters and jumping over traps so we don't trigger them, as almost like routine within the genre. within the hobby community. But here again it feels fresh. Again, the sci-fi setting already helps us seeing things in a different way. If you played the video game Dead Space, to me this is almost like Dead Space, the board game. So it's the sci-fi setting, it is the mystery of not seeing the map, it is the fact that you do have penalties if a monster jumps at you and does a peekaboo kind of move to you, is the famous dreaded peekaboo move. And you as a player, pretty much will want your hero to act accordingly, that is, to act to prevent that. So your hero will move cautiously, will try look for a light switch, try to scan a section to prevent, again, being surprised by a monster. Meanwhile, a monster creeps out from behind you, and you lose sanity from the point of view of the game resources, but then also it really works thematically. You feel like you see the hero having that shock. Again, the game is really thematic. It is a sci-fi horror that really works well that way. From the point of view of gameplay, also I find it very solid. Again, maybe 2 or 3 fewer rules would improve it, but as is, it is pretty solid, and it is very non-symmetrical, which I always like. It always comes with the fact that you have to learn 2 separate sets of rules, but on the plus side, then you have replay value because you switch sides and you're playing basically 2 different games. The monster side is reactive, but not clueless, but not passive, because there are just so many ways in which you can react. Yes, if you have the right cards that are triggered by the hero's actions, your actions are more powerful, but you never have a completely dead hand because you can always play cards face down. I like that, and then you have to choose which monsters you want to place there. You want to have variety. You don't want the hero to encounter the same monster too many times, otherwise then they gain experience and they can unlock extra abilities. I think that there is a lot of variety there. Of course, there is the fun of planting traps, and there is strategy also in where you're placing your tokens, where you're placing your monsters. Ideally, the hero is here, and you know that they need to go there, and you're gonna make this like the most dangerous place on the board, but then the hero turns around, get on the stairs and find another way, probably by chance, and you're still like, oh gosh, and now the hero is going in a way, in the direction that is fairly safe. So as the monster player, the evil player, you have to choose if you want to concentrate in the area between the hero and the target, or spread around, and then some of your traps never get to really be helpful. So there are interesting decisions there. But thematically, again, being the hero really places you in a gameplay position, which is interesting because you have a lot of interesting actions that you can take, all good, and you never have enough time to take them all. Of course, I would ideally want to scan, see if there are monsters, get a sense of how far my objectives are, scavenge everywhere, etc., etc. But then if I do that, I don't have enough time. So you really have, again, interesting decisions there as you're trying to prioritize your actions, as we're trying to deal with this extremely hostile environment. And I find the game to be pretty balanced. When played with teams or players that were pretty much of equal or similar experience in gaming, then the game was pretty tight. The hero died almost in front of the final place where the hero needed to go to complete the mission. So in general, I find Alone to be pretty fun. Not for casual players, more for committed players, but definitely for those that have the strength to learn 2 separate sets of rules, so after they're imprinted in different rule books. Well, this is a game that definitely is fun. It is intense, it is thematic, it has replay value, it has really good looking components, and generally speaking, it is just a great fun to play.